is a very big step up in competition for Richards. You go ahead and fight a guy who's 2-22 in a 6-round fight into getting a interim title shot against Albert Ramirez, who's arguably one of the most dangerous light heavyweights today. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel here today. So in today's video, we are predicting next week's main event for Canada, Albert Ramirez versus Lerrone Richards. Now listen, stylistically, this could be a very bad matchup for Lerrone, because the style of Lerrone is, he's a very slick southpaw with an elite jab, good footwork, good head movement, decent fight IQ. So Lerrone Richards is just a decent fighter everywhere. And now for Albert Ramirez is a high-pressured fighter with a high guard and consistent pressure. He kind of moves around and is a very good power puncher. This man's last 4 fights were by knockout, and they were devastating. Listen, Albert Ramirez, this is just me not hypothetically. I think Albert Ramirez has a possibility of being one of the only fighters to beat David Benavidez. But it's not like super high. He at least has like a 20% chance of beating David Benavidez. But I think that may be a little too high. But back to the fight with him and Lerrone. Listen, if you look at Lerrone's fight against Steve Whittle, you would see, because Steve Whittle kind of has that same type of pressure that Albert Ramirez has, consistent pace, and he managed to knock out Richards in the 6th round. But also, the way I see Richards winning this fight is by making it close. But here's how. Up first is using that slick jab to close the distance. He is the shorter fighter in this fight. So I think he would most likely do a better job on the inside. And, we kind of seen Albert Ramirez kind of had that trouble on the inside. Number 2 is by using that elite footwork. That elite footwork and head movement combined. If we can make Albert Ramirez miss a lot of his shots, that could definitely tire Albert Ramirez out towards the later rounds. But listen, another reason why I think stylistically this is a bad matchup for Richards. Because the last time Richards fought, he fought a guy who had 2 wins with 22 losses. It was a 6-round fight, and even that guy gave him trouble. And I've seen a few fights from that guy Dylan something. That guy is really not that good. So for Lerrone to have trouble with a guy who has that many losses, I would say it's very concerning, especially now you're going with a guy who's 22-0 with 19 knockouts. That's going to be very concerning. But another thing I am concerned about here for this fight with Richards, that Richard has a low punch output, and he doesn't throw that much throughout the fight. He has a low average strike output, which is the main reason why he's in these scenarios where, he's having tough fights with guys who aren't even that good. Because this guy has 19 wins, but with 4 knockouts only. So that means about 16 of his wins are by decision. And sometimes it's very competitive, and he is fighting, and I would kind of say he sometimes fights cans, but then he sometimes fights these guys who are good. But he hasn't fought no one on an elite level. And I think this is in my opinion, guys, this is a very big step up in competition for Richards. You go ahead and fight a guy who's 2-22 in a 6-round fight into getting a interim title shot against Albert Ramirez, who's arguably one of the most dangerous light heavyweights today. So yeah, like I said, what Lerrone has to do is use that jab, use that elite footwork that he has, move around, land some body shots, land those uppercuts, use his fight IQ, because he has a solid fight IQ, but it's not like the best. His fight IQ is decent. I think it could be decent enough to, trouble Albert Ramirez. But the way I see this going, I see the first 2 rounds Lerrone having a lot of success. But I think after those 2 rounds, I think Ramirez kind of finds his style and knocks him out. That is my prediction, guys. It's a quick prediction today. So that'll be the end of the video, guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Turn on notifications when you guys want to see what I upload. Thank you for 101 subscribers. And now let's try and get to 200 by the end of the summer. But thank y'all for watching. Make sure y'all share my video with your friends if they like to see a boxing content like this. And I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace.